Alright guys, welcome back to another tutorial in Mulesoft, and as I said before, we will be talking more on the Lambda expressions. Okay, and just let me create one of them here. We'll talk about Lambda expressions. Okay, so let me bring this guy over to the Dataweave here, and in this we are going to look at many ways of writing Lambda expressions. Okay, so let's go with the module 101 as usual. So here it's module 101. Okay, cool. Now first is that, as you are already aware of how to write the function, standard function, and then convert that function to a Lambda expression. Okay, now we are going to look at that something similar over here as well. So I'll just say first expression. Okay, let's go with the JSON as usual. I want to create a payload that would look something like this. Let me create a payload. See, the payload is not defined yet, so you know how to create a payload, right? So we have gone through this before. Okay, let's create a payload here. We'll say the language type is JSON. Okay, and we'll create one payload here. I'll say field 1, and I'll say it's manju. I'll say field 2, again I'll say it's a kaushik. Okay, and then I have field 3. I'll say I'm computer science candidate. Okay, that's fine. Let's save it. Okay, here I'm going to save it as temp.json. That would be better actually. I can keep on using this forever for any programming concepts. Okay, and here I'm going to click on define metadata. You know how to do that, right? Click on add, and I'm going to say temp JSON. Okay, and in this temp JSON, I'm going to select the JSON file here, click on example, and then go to desktop, temp JSON. That's it. If the JSON is correct, it will be parsed. Now as you can see, it should load it. Now you know where it would be available, right? You can see it in source, main, resources, and examples here, temp JSON. So this guy, we have gone through this. Yeah, this guy would be pointing over here. Okay, now now the moment once I provide the payload, here I'll just say payload, so which means whatever payload is available over here, it will be reflected over here. So as you can see here, there are 3 attributes, right? Payload, variables, and attributes. Yeah, so since we are loading the payload here from here, whatever data is available over here, it will be loaded here, and I've named it as payload. The output is this. Okay, now that's clear. So let's create a function. Okay, so in an old way, see, this is in Dataweave, right? In other programming language you use the word function, and here it's fun. I don't know why they kept as fun. Okay, fun load emp details. I'll just go with load emp details, and here I'll accept a value. Okay, and the output would be first name. Yeah, I'll go with this key, first name. How do you access? Yeah, we have gone through this again. How do you access this field 1? Since this is in payload, and if you access field 1, payload dot field 1, payload dot field 2, payload dot field 3. Yeah, hope you remember this. So we'll do the same thing here. Payload dot field 1. Yeah, okay, and then comma, last name is payload dot field 2. last name is payload.field2. Now here I'm going to just take this, pass over here, and in this I have to pass the payload details. See here, it got loaded. So let's understand what has happened. Okay, I have created a function called load emp details, and it takes arguments. The first argument is, it takes argument. Value is nothing but your argument. Okay, it takes argument. So what argument it takes? It takes the entire payload as an argument. See this entire payload, whatever you have here, I'm saying pass this payload to this function, and this function would receive this and it will pass, it will navigate inside this. Okay, so that's the reason we are saying payload.field1, payload.field2, because we are passing the parameters here. Okay, now if I pass something else here, say assume that here if I add something else, say additional details, I'll say, and I just say empty, so it will also still reflect. Okay, but if I remove this, it is an error, because it is expecting an argument here and I have to pass an argument here. If I pass something x, that is also error, because what is x? Now if I pass vars, that is also, it's like if I say vars, what vars? Okay, so either the way, if you can see this, in this we are passing the payload. Okay, payload should be reflected over there, that's it. Okay, now I'm passing the payload, just remember this. Okay, I'm passing the payload here, that's the whole purpose. Okay, now how do we convert this to a lambda expression? Again I'm repeating, hope you guys remember this. If I go back to this particular information here, if you guys remember this function name, the traditional method, right? Say traditional method. Now if I have to use a lambda expression and anonymous function, you have to delete function first, correct? And then I said let this becomes a variable, and then you have to add an arrow mark. We have gone through this in JavaScript tutorial. Yeah, similar to that we are going to perform something similar to this. So let's see this. I'm going to delete this fun keyword. Okay, and then I'll just say here, how do you declare a variable? It's var, not let or const, it's var. We have gone through that as well, var. Okay, anything that is in DataWeave, it is defined as var. Okay, anything that comes as a part of the payload, you can see this set variable. Okay, this variable, this particular variable, yeah, here it is vars dot. Remember this is vars dot, but here it's var. Don't get confused, both of them are different. Here it's vars dot, here it's var. Okay, so what have we done? First step, delete fun, deleted, then convert that to a variable, it's a variable, then you pass this equal sign. Okay, and this argument still remains the same, remove this equal sign and convert like this. That's it, the lambda expression is ready. Lambda function, lambda expression, you call whatever it is, so that is ready. How cool is that? Okay, so how cool is that? That's it. Make sure that the lambda expression is also invoked by this name. Make sure that this is also invoked in a right way. Okay, so that's the way how you create a lambda expression, and we have seen this. Now the next thing that I wanted to also show is another example. Let me take another example and talk about it. Okay, and here I'm going to say this as, instead of first expression, I'll rename it as okay, I'll add a comment before. So before, wait 1 minute, I'll just do one thing, fn, and I'll say this, okay, equal to, and I'm going to comment it out, and I'll say this is before, and this is after, so that when you look at the code, you know how it has been handled. So I'll say load emp details, okay. Okay, cool. Now next is I'll take another one. This time we'll say lambda on array. Lambda on array. Okay, let's see how this works. Okay, thinking of an example. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's take JSON as usual, and here I'm going to create a variable. Okay, where employee name. This is my actually favorite employee names. Okay, I'll say equal to, and I'll create an array. I'll say Manju, Rahul, Mohan. Yeah. Now there is one function that I have not yet spoken, but anyways I'll give a small gist of it, which is a map operator. It's a Dataweave operator. So you guys remember this, in the previous video we had spoken about multiple operators, right? Multiple map is one of them. I have not spoken, so you can add like a map operator here. We will speak about in the next module, not in this module. Then when we talk about Dataweave module 3, right, I'll talk about map, filter, objects and other aspects of it, but as of now I'm not going to talk about map operator. Okay, so but still I get gist of it. So map, okay, see what happens. Okay, we'll say users, sorry, not users, what's wrong with me, I'll say employee name, okay, and then I'm going to take this employee names itself is here. Okay, now as you can see, it's ready, the employee name here and the employee names is getting over here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I want to convert all the names to upper, so I need to iterate over an array. If I have to iterate over an array, I'll use the map function. See, if I click on this map, what it is showing, see, it takes input as an array and then item and the index number. Output is also an array. So in our case, the input is an array and item and index is the sub arguments. It's another arguments. Okay, now let's see how we can deal with that. Okay, so the input is an array, so we have taken this. Okay, we got input as an array, next is map, and then for that, okay, okay, let's see this map, and I'll take this, what do you call that, I'll take a value, an argument 1, okay, argument 1, lambda expression, upper of employee names. Okay, seems there's something wrong with here. Okay, so I'm sorry, upper of argument 1, there you go. What has happened? This, you remember this function and function name. Function is deleted. Since function is deleted, you are only left with anonymous name, function without a name. So I have taken the argument. Okay, in this argument, this is an argument, right? Argument. So I have passed this employee name as an argument. Okay, and once this employee names have been passed, since we are using a map operator, it will take one at a time, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I have passed employee name as an argument. So first it will go Manju, and then Rahul, okay, and then Mohan, okay, and then it will convert to upper. That is how it works. Okay, so there's a thing called as a infix and suffix notation, and that's something also I will talk about it eventually. Okay, I have to bring that up topic as well. Okay, just a minute. Okay, sorry, I think I've messed it up. Okay, there you go. Now that's the map operator, where it will loop over the arrays and it will perform the result. But the point here is that you can see that usage of lambda expression. Okay, now let's take another basic example. I'll say it's quite so basic in nature. Okay, basic example. Dataweave is such a lengthy topic. I mean, like it's very difficult to cover in one module, in one whole program. That itself is a program. That's the problem. Dataweave itself is a program, and even RAML itself is a separate program altogether. Anyways, we'll try our best. Okay. So in the JSON, see here, what did we do? We have seen this. We have written a function, and then function name, yeah, and then we saw the arguments a1 and a2. Okay, and then we use this lambda expression. Okay, something like this. Now if you use lambda expression anonymous function, this is removed. Yeah, this is removed. Okay, what if I even remove the function? This function name is also removed. Then what happens? You have just a1 and a2. Okay, assume that you have a1 and a2, and I'll even delete a1 and a2. That's it. An empty argument, nothing. There's no argument. Okay, that is also possible, right? You can have this function without an argument, guys. Remember, function name. That's it. Something like this. And here you will say return a plus b. That's it. You can have this very well, correct? So remove this. Function is gone, name is gone. That's it. See here, and add. Okay, sorry, and add like this. And if it's a single liner, even you don't need this. We have seen in JavaScript, correct? So that is what we have done. Okay, and here I'll say 2 plus 3. See, ideally it should have given us 5. Okay, but here it's saying that cannot coerce function to string. Saying it has understood. The best part is that it has understood that this is a function. See, this is a function, an anonymous function, a function without a name. A function without a name is called as anonymous function. No function. See, no function. A function without a name is called as anonymous function. So it has understood, but it is saying that this function I'm not able to convert to a string. It's not happening now in such kind of scenario, because what is happening is that, see, lambdas. Okay, if you use a lambda function, right? Okay, with the help of anonymous, until you invoke them, it will not be used. Here there is no invoking part. Yeah, there is no invoking part. Who is invoking? No one is invoking. Okay, lambda never executes until you call them. Remember this point. Okay, until you call them or push some. Until you call them, lambda expressions, lambda functions are never going to be executed. Okay, lambda basically describes the functionality, right? Understand that. Lambda, it describes the functionality, but it never helps in getting executed until you call them. See, 2 plus 3, it is telling that I'm trying to add two numbers. Yeah, it is describing the functionality. The functionality is mathematical operation, and it says that I'm trying to add 2 plus 3 and I'm trying to return a value. But is someone calling it? No. Is it getting executed? No. There should be an external push. Someone has to push and say that, hey, call lambda. That is not happening. Yeah. And on top of that, what is happening is that since we are saying this 2 plus 3, and the data writer, it says that internally it has to convert to a JSON. So it's all getting confused. It's saying that, okay, I'm describing the functionality, which is 2 plus 3. I'm trying to add two numbers and I'm trying to return a value, but no one is calling the function. And on top of that is asking me to convert to JSON. How can a function convert to a JSON? How can a function convert to a JSON? In JSON, there is no function. Have you ever seen in the curly brackets writing any called as function? No, right? So the brain just got damaged. It's saying that I am not able to understand. You're writing a function and you're not calling it. And then you're asking me to convert to a JSON. Like, no, what is this? Okay, now to make it understandable, all we have to do is something like this. Wrap it in the square brackets and then use another brackets. Now that itself gets invoked. Okay, so which means the function itself is getting invoked. Okay, that is something you should always remember this. Now you can coerce to as number if you want. Okay, that is different. Now this becomes a number. Okay, coercion means something you're trying to force and tell that you want in this format. Okay, you can even say as string. Okay, see, the moment when I say string, double quotes got appended. See, if I say as number, see, number, can I convert to a boolean? Let's see. No, it cannot convert to a boolean. Okay, it's number. Now that's how you work it out. Okay, now this is one part of it. The next is that, okay, this is a very basic example, don't forget it. The next example that I wanted to talk about is still on data lambda expression itself, but I think we have exceeded 20 minutes of the time window. I'm going to break it right now, and we'll continue this in the next video. Until then, thank you.